The boogeyman is still alive. So Alabama is going to go into this Final Four with their chests puffed out. They're relishing the fact that they just stomped all over Georgia's #1 ranking, and knowing that if they face them again in a title game, that all the moxie, all the mojo is going to be on Alabama's side. And with Cincinnati coming in, being that Cinderella, quote unquote, you would think that they're going to hear a lot between now and then how this undefeated team, who probably doesn't even belong on the same field as Alabama, Nick Saban's going to twist and turn that to the point where they're the undefeated team. They're actually have played better than us all year. So he's pretty much going to take that same tact that he brought into the game against Georgia and probably use that in the semifinal to the point where they don't even need to go that route. We don't need to see Alabama or Nick Saban try to use some sort of tactic or Jedi mind trick on his Alabama team. Because even with the championship medal from last year, without Mac Jones, without Jalen Waddle, without Devontae Smith and a ton of other NFL players that are in the league right now, we know what that culture is like. They can have me at running back or at linebacker, safety, etc., and he doesn't need to get in my ear to know that this team that we're going to play against is going to be not necessarily favored. I'm sure Alabama, they're going to be favored by double digits, you would think. But my point is that with all of the trending that's taking place right now for Alabama to win this thing, and why would you even consider them not being a favorite right now after what we saw there on Saturday? But just the fact that they are cooking with gas, the fact that they're steamrolling to this Final Four, that a lot of people thought they were going to be left for dead, that Georgia was going to pretty much flatten their chances of making it to the college football playoff, and now they're here. So as crazy as this may sound, it's almost as if Alabama's playing with house money. And I know that's even hard to fathom when it comes to Alabama. They're the defending national champions. But so many people, including yours truly, and I said it last week, I thought Georgia would win the game. Would I have been surprised that if Alabama won? No. And that's a lot of it has to do with Georgia's baggage against Alabama over the years. But now here's Alabama. It's almost as if they dusted themselves off. Again, the boogeyman. Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees. Here we are. You haven't killed us yet. And chances are you may not be able to kill them if you're Cincinnati or if you're Georgia or Michigan. So to me, that's the one storyline I'm going to go in with Alabama, knowing that, hey, all is right in the world and we're back in our lofty perch as being #1, where we should have been all along, but we took a little bit of a detour here. Yeah, we didn't play well there. Yeah, we kind of stubbed our toe, but we were able to pull ourselves out of the fire there. And here we are. As for #2, Michigan, the magic carpet ride continues, which has to make you think, is this not only going to be the year for Jim Harbaugh, but also for the administration overall? Because if you recall, the last time they won a national title game, they had to share it with Nebraska in the 1997 year. That's the Charles Woodson, Brian Griese team. And that was the year where Michigan beat Washington State. And, of course, Nebraska won. And we all know back in the day that was all fudged. And the AP poll, Michigan won, but the coaches poll was Nebraska. We know how that ended up. So here's Michigan at this point, knowing that they had so much to overcome. And a lot of people thought that even with the extension that was given by the school to Jim Harbaugh, and they entrusted not only his coaching, his philosophy, etc., and obviously being an alum and former quarterback of the Wolverines, that they pushed all their chips to the middle of the table. And guess what? They came out with a boatload of money, not only beating Ohio State as we've seen, but also just thrashing Iowa. And not that that was a shock, but you know that if I was going to be in this game, let's say even at halftime, a lot of people would have thought, oh, geez, maybe the snakes are still in Harbaugh's head and the team. But he erased that. So now he's not playing with house money because he still has a couple more mountains to climb. But you wonder, just in the last few weeks alone, and then even beating Penn State, and even though Penn State was battered and bruised at that time, but then to come from behind and win that game. at Happy Valley. And here they are, team number 2. And do they have a good shot to not only beat Georgia, but also get to a national title, maybe win? I'd say why not? Does that mean they're going to? Absolutely not. I'm not going to say that right now. They have to get past Georgia first. But they have as good as a shot as any team to be the last team standing to win a national title. Now let's go to Georgia. To me, Kirby Smart has to get in his players. If he hasn't done so already, he has to get in their heads right now to say, hey, guys, we know they're Alabama. We know what they're all about, but we're still in this thing. We do have to play a hot Michigan team, but that doesn't mean that the season is up in smoke. Destiny is still controlled by our Bulldog team. He's going to have to hammer that in because what they've experienced on Saturday, I'm sure there were a lot of heads being hung and a lot of doubt, disbelief, knowing that they had this dominant regular season, and then it didn't go all up in smoke because they're still one of the last 4 teams standing. But you have to wonder whether or not this team, their psyche between their ears and what's in their chest, if they're going to have enough to not only beat Michigan, but to get back to a title game and then, dare I say, play Alabama. So that's going to be the key theme for them between now and December 31st. I don't want to hear anything other than that because that is all the focus right now on what Kirby Smart's going to do to get his message to that team to say, hey, we are not out of this thing. Yes, we lost to Alabama. Yes, we know who they are. Yes, we may even see them one more time. But we have one game ahead of us against one pretty damn good team. All the focus should be on that. We could beat this team. We are Georgia. Let's go. And then finally with Cincinnati, to me, it's the Cinderella. And the only reason why I say that because they're a team that was undefeated, give them props. Their only big win was against Notre Dame, as we saw there about 6 weeks ago. And here's a team that I'm glad to see in there. It did help that Oklahoma State did lose because a lot of people in that region would have thought that Oklahoma State deserved to be there, even with the one loss and with no losses to Cincinnati, that the competition that they beat, whether it was Oklahoma along the way, whether it was Baylor, obviously a top 10 ranked team, and what did Cincinnati have to do all year? But we don't have to worry about that. The Bearcats are front and center in this thing. And the one thing that I will say about this Bearcat team, despite them being perfect and deserving to be here, it's reminiscent to a team going back 13 years ago. And although it wasn't for a national championship, but it was for a big bowl game, it was the Sugar Bowl in 2008, where the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors played against the Georgia Bulldogs in that game. Hawaii, the quarterback was Colt Brennan. May he rest in peace, as he, believe in the past year, had passed away. And then June Jones, remember him, the former Atlanta Falcons quarterback, was the coach of the Rainbow Warriors, and they went undefeated through the whole year. And we know that schedule out there, very soft. But what happened when they had to take a step up in class to play a team like Georgia, national stage for the whole world to see? They bombed. Lost 41-10. I hate to say it, but this is what I see for Cincinnati, knowing that they're going to go up against Alabama. This is a typical David versus Goliath matchup. And that's not to say they're going to lose. I'm not trying to tip my hand to say what's going to happen here, but I could see Cincinnati looking at this game and the lights being way too bright for them, and especially against that team, I'm sure that's the last team they wanted to face. But that's the challenge, and this is why, deservingly so, we understand that Cincinnati should be here, and they earned the right to be here. But how they're going to perform in this game, that's going to be the burning question between now and then. Because I don't want to hear anything else. I don't want to hear how sky-high confident they're going to be. The quarterback, the coach, the whole team. Yeah, we're undefeated. They should just lay low, not say much, talk about how great Alabama is, that we probably don't even deserve to be on the same field. And when it's all said and done, that may be the case. But they should just keep that low profile. Because if they even think about, not to say they're going to get engaged in any type of trash talk, But if they're going to say that, hey, we deserve to be here, yes, we're going to go up against the big, bad, mighty Crimson Tide, but, we're going to show them, I would say not too fast. So those are the 4 storylines there, to me, that I will look at from an early analysis leading up to the college football Final Four. And the college football season, what can you say? It has been fascinating. It's been intriguing. And now the stage is set. So we'll have to wait another 3.5 weeks before we could chew on these semifinal college football Final Four playoff games.